What's up, gang? Just want to do a fun little video today because over the weekend I was browsing X and I keep seeing this theme come up. Okay, so the larger theme that I'm aware of and just generally paying attention to all the time is that software developers don't really know what they're doing. Okay, that's the overarching theme, is that software developers really don't understand the art of building software at all. And I'm always interested, in the thinking that people have, and why don't software developers know what they're doing? Why do certain trends and fads take over in software design, and it just creates a bigger and bigger mess? And yet this is the thing that gets popular, these things that create huge messes and that nobody understands. Like, what is going on with software? Why is the state of software development so bad? So this post is actually a series of posts here on X, really got me going this weekend. So let's just take a look at this and we will try to unpack what is really going on with software development, and why not only are software developers bad at software development, but why they feel haughty about being wrong about the whole thing. Like, what's going on there? Let's check it out, okay? So this guy says, "This book destroyed a generation of programmers. I was one of them. Took a very long time to unlearn this crap." Oh, man. All right, so the book is called Design Patterns, Elements of Reusable Object-Oriented Software. Okay, I have not read the book. I have not read the book, but I don't need to read the book because I know what the book is about. What this references: design patterns, elements of reusable, object-oriented software. Okay, object-oriented software is, it's considered a type of software development, okay? It shouldn't be considered a type of software development. It should be considered the canonical form of software development, all right? It was popularized really in the 80s and 90s. That's when it became like the thing. The programming languages that existed in the 1960s and 70s prior to that did not have object-oriented capabilities. And so therefore that type of software development did not exist. But when that stuff came into focus in the 80s and 90s, then that became sort of the standard for software development, or the, if not the standard, the aspirational standard, the thing we were trying to achieve. And so without getting too in-depth into this for the purposes of this video, I just want to give you an analogy for how object-oriented design patterns work and why they're useful, okay? So just think about humanity. Think about people. The design pattern for people is that we have 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. We got a nose with 2 nostrils. We've got lips, we've got eyes. We've got the basic elements of a human. But then we have, allegedly 8 billion people here on planet Earth right now. So if you've got the human pattern, the base human pattern, but we have 8 billion unique implementations of that pattern, and there we've got humanity. If you were going to code up a model for people, you would want to do exactly this. You would want to code up a base model, the pattern on which everything is based, and then you would simply create instances of that model with a little bit of different data fed into that particular instance to make it unique. That way you can have one base model that you can do maintenance on. You can make some tweaks to it, but you're working on this one thing, and then you're affecting all 8 billion instances of that model and any instances that are to appear in the future. You could actually manage that system because you're really only working on one thing. It's kind of the essence of object-oriented programming right there. You have a base model, and then you have instances of the model. But when you need to do maintenance, or you want to make changes, or you want to test things, you want to play with it, you play with the base model and maybe a test instance of the model, and then you can see what's going on. So that's really just the basics of object-oriented stuff. If you had to, by contrast, if you had to go interface with each one of the 8 billion implementations of the model, you would never be able to keep up with this. 8 billion is a huge number. You wouldn't want to go out and have to do maintenance on even a subset of these 8 billion people. You wouldn't want to have to go like tweak the code on a billion of these implementations. You could never do that. You could never keep up with that. So you must use pattern leverage if you want to have a system that can be replicated many, many times. So that's kind of the basics of object-oriented programming. And there's a billion other nuances that kind of play into it and reasons why this is the way that software needs to be built. Doesn't matter for the purposes of the video. But the bottom line is, so we'll go through this a little bit more. See these crazy opinions that these people have. So this is the guy who says, okay, I just scanned through the book and note my opinion has not changed. Never recommend this book to a new programmer. After 5-10 years experience, I think it's a useful read, but giving this to new programmers will absolutely destroy their brain. All right, and we'll read this comment too from Scott Spadilla. He said, most design patterns are just OOP, object-oriented programming, OOP, inheritance garbage. Inheritance garbage. Okay, inheritance is the essence of object-oriented programming. That's how design patterns work. So his sentence is stupid on its face. It doesn't make any sense. This guy's just talking. All right, he mentions a bunch of singleton, object pool, visitor, facade, interpreter, composite, proxy, memento, mediator, chain of responsibility, prototype, bridge, decorator, builder, templates. All that crap is more performant and flexible as an ECS with data-oriented design. This is all just jargon, okay? This doesn't mean anything. He doesn't know any of this. He doesn't know squat. Wow. And I told him, I said, if this is a parody post, it's genius, dropping all that jargon crap. I said, sadly, it's not. Anyway, and then so terms are getting thrown out like over-engineering. Okay, so design patterns are good to learn once someone knows how to program. Rob actually with a fair comment, but this is ridiculous, okay? If you don't understand this stuff, you are not a programmer, all right? So, all right, so let's go into exactly what's happening here. So in school, specifically in high school, there's 3 computer science courses: computer science AB, computer science BC, and data structures. Those 3 courses combined, basically the essence of those, if you go through the whole thing and you really get it, it all leads you to be able to build in an object-oriented way. It leads you to be able to build object-oriented software. In computer science AB, you're introduced to the basics like variables, functions, files, all that stuff. And then you also get introduced to the components of objects, such as classes and the idea of inheritance. And then if you're really in a school that's worth a dang teaching this stuff, you actually build a model of this stuff. You actually put it into practice. And then ideally, your grade is based on how well you exhibit an understanding of this basic idea. Now, in universities, at least in America, if you go to learn this stuff, they also, like in the first semester, if you're on a computer science track, they basically do the same thing that computer science A, B, and BC do. They introduce you to the components, they lead you down the road of building object-oriented stuff, and then you kind of demonstrate your understanding of that. Now, when I was in school, a very long time ago, I was at Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech required all students, no matter what major you were going to be, they required every student to take this Intro to Computer Science course where we learned all that stuff. In what's called pseudocode. So not an actual language, but something that mimics a language. More on that in a second. And this was probably the most failed class at Georgia Tech at that time. It may still be today. I don't know. I don't keep up with that stuff. But I used to tutor people in my dormitory because there was such a demand for this. I'd have them bring me stuff. Bring me some goodies or something and I'll tutor you. So, at least once a week, usually a couple nights a week, I would have people over my dorm room and I would try and teach this stuff because people did not get it. They did not get it. For me, this was a very easy course. I took all that stuff in high school. I understood it well. I understood how to apply it. And it was not that big a deal. But this is some brain-breaking stuff for a lot of people. And so, this vibe of this brain-breaking stuff is evidenced here. I think it's a useful read, but giving this to new programmers will absolutely destroy their brain. This is cope. The cope is that people don't really understand the stuff very well, and what they are looking for, essentially, is a reason to discredit it, okay? And now, so how do these attitudes get so pervasive in software development though? And like now they're institutionalized to some degree as valid opinions. Like saying like object-oriented programming is a joke is like institutionally valid to say now. It's insane. It's insane. It's actually the biggest bit of evidence that people don't know what they're doing. But this becomes normalized and validated because people will go on, they'll graduate from college. And like the last 3 years of computer science degree is really all about learning about electrical engineering stuff, which is for building hardware. And then like a lot of really, really limited usefulness applications like grid computing and stuff like that. Stuff you might do at Google or something like this if you're on some specialized team doing some very specialized project, or if you're working at a data center doing some large data thing. But this is not like broadly applicable in the realm of software development. Really, all that crap is a total throwaway. You know, that's such limited usefulness. You'd have to be at a specific company of a specific size doing a very specific type of project for most of that stuff to matter. It's the basic stuff, the fundamentals that really matter for software development at large. And that's the stuff that's not well understood. And you know, fortunately for these computer science students, they don't spend too much time there, so they may not ever get it. And then they can just talk crap about design patterns and object-oriented programming once they get away from that, because they're not required to display mastery of that in order to get a degree. And so once you have your degree, you know, you go work after the last 25 years or whatever, you've gone to work at Google, you've gone to work at Facebook, you've gone to one of these places. And what you find when you get there is that the systems you work with are not object-oriented programs. They're not. It's spaghetti code crap and a bunch of spot fixes and little patches on stuff. There's not a holistic thing where you're in this amazing program and it's all eloquent and everything fits together and everything's amazing and it's really been well thought out and refined over a long period of time. It's not like that at all. And to me, that's shocking. Like the very essence of computer science is understanding object-oriented programming and the power and the leverage that's possible through the basic use of patterns. And yet this is not how it's done at these big companies, and therefore it's not how it's done in software development at large. And so when people see this, it's a breath of fresh air because, all that stuff I really struggled to understand and did not master, suddenly it doesn't matter. And not only does it not matter, all the engineers around me talk the same level of crap about it. And therefore, I am validated in not understanding this and actually hating it because I didn't understand it. Because we don't use this stuff. This is a joke. This is a joke. And so there it is. You know, you've got the law of bigness playing in here. You know, you go to some big company that you respect and they don't do this. Well, then it's trash. If they don't do it, then it must be garbage, right? And so you see that it's this spiral of not understanding in the beginning and then having your crappy opinion validated by a garbage environment that's not well built, not well thought out. It's just ridiculous. And then everybody excuses their shortcomings because, well, everyone else is doing it. So, I mean, we're fine. We're fine. All the people who are obsessed with this pattern leverage and stuff, y'all are crazy. Y'all are over-engineering things. It's just madness. It's just madness. So when I say, if I'm like firing off a ridiculous post on X, or if I'm sending you an email, something like this, or if I'm ranting on YouTube like this, if I say that people don't understand how to develop software, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. It is not well understood. It is, not only is it not well understood, it is actively discouraged. But the reason that it's actively discouraged is because people do not understand. They have not achieved a level of mastery with this stuff, and they run from it because it scares them. It sucks not to understand things. It sucks to call yourself a developer and to not understand the basics, the fundamentals of what is going on. You know, I played a lot of sports, and one of the things that comes up time and time and time again is that the greatest performers have a true mastery and an obsession with the fundamentals. Tiger Woods is an amazing golfer because he putted and chipped all the freaking time. Incredible short game. Incredible touch putting when he was younger. How'd he get that? Practiced all the time. You know, he didn't go out all the time practicing how to hit 330-yard bombs. That's the sexy stuff. That's the stuff we like to see. But that's not what makes you great. What makes you great is mastering the fundamentals, knowing how to hit a shot that curves from right to left, knowing how to hit a shot that curves from left to right. Knowing how to do the basics is what makes you a master. And in computer science and software development, there has been a rejection of the fundamentals and a mockery of the fundamentals. And this has led to an environment where nobody really understands the game. And there isn't the pressure in software development that there is in, in sports, and the pressure to compete. Like if you are going mano a mano and it's your, exactly how you execute the next shot versus somebody else, that's actually a lot more pressure. And so you can't run and hide from the fundamentals in an environment like that. But with software, there's been so much free money in tech over the last 25, 30 years. It's crazy. You know, you can be at a company that is successful and makes a lot of money with software and say, well, because this company's successful, we're doing the right thing. Therefore, our methods are validated. And that's how this works. You know, if this was a competition like sports, these methods would not be being validated. They would be getting written off immediately because they're substandard. That's what's frustrating to me, is because there's just too many ways to excuse the crappy performance in software development. You know, the reality is my most potent company and most potent time of development in terms of making money was between 2008 and 2012. And during that time, the thesis software that I was selling was terrible. It was better than what else was available, but in terms of being a great piece of software, it was not it. It was not a great piece of software. It was just thrown together. And it was thrown together in an environment where people really wanted that solution. That's why it was successful. It was successful because it was the right product at the right time, and it was better than everything else that was available. But that doesn't mean it was good. That's the problem with software. People aren't able to make that distinction. They're not able to say, I made money off this, but that doesn't mean it was good. Good is different than something that makes money. Money does not validate an idea. We think it does. We think it does. And there's so many ways you can give me a counter argument to say, it kind of does. But it does not. If something is good, it's good. If something is bad, it's bad. Something bad can still make money. A lot of bad stuff makes money. Maybe even a majority of the stuff that makes money is really bad. So this is the issue. This is the issue. So when I say people don't understand software development and it's a joke out there, most of the software you interface with is terrible, it's the truth. And this is why it's the truth. There is institutional support for the stuff you are using to suck. The only way this situation improves is if you have somebody like me who's willing to say, I don't care how much money it makes, it's crap. And until it's not crap, we're going to keep working to ensure that it becomes great. And, there's just like, how does that work? How does that work? Things need money to be able to sustain, for ideas to be validated. It's tough. But the truth is, for me, and I think for others, I'm not alone in this, but like the truth for me is that I want the best solution. That's what I really want. I would love a bunch of money. Dump a pile of money on me right now. It'd be great. Give me millions of users tomorrow. I'll take it. But what I really want more than all of that is to make something great. And I want to know it's great. I want to work in paradise. I want to be playing with my software, building stuff with the software, knowing that it is freaking awesome. I want to be making small little moves and having big, large effects. I want it to be easy. I want it to be delightful. When you are using something that's great, you know it. No one has to tell you that it's great. You will know. Your experience of dealing with that software will be great. You will feel creative. You will feel energetic. You will feel powerful. That's what it means to work with something that's actually good. So I don't read stuff like this crap on Twitter, all this cope about people who were unable to grasp the fundamentals of computer science and yet still have managed to land jobs in software. I got to start calling it out. I got to start talking about this because it's a joke. People out there are weak, mentally weak, incapable of coming up with truly creative solutions, incapable of having the discipline required to build something good. It takes time. I can't be like, oh, I'm going to launch something on September 14th and know that I'm going to be able to build this great thing by exactly that date and ship it. That's not how it works. Greatness doesn't work that way. You know, greatness is you go in the trenches, you work your butt off, you keep refining, you have higher standards, say, no, this can be better. Oh, I got this idea how to make this better. Let's implement that. And you just keep going. One day, you'll have done that enough that other people will see that what you have is great. But I'm not going to be able to hit some marketing deadline to do this. That's not the point. The point is to build something great. So that's the deal, gang. This is exactly why you should be following me about all this software stuff, about PageMotor, about stuff relevant to WordPress, all this. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one who gets it. I know there's some more of you out there who kind of understand this stuff and are maybe even working in similar ways. If so, I'd love to hear from you. But the reality is, I don't see anybody out there really talking about this. I don't see anybody I see people spouting cope. I don't see people spouting the truth. People saying what needs to be said. Programmers are weak. They're lazy. Software that we use is crap. You know it's crap. It's slow. It's janky. Things don't work. Things break. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. It's time to start building great software. It starts with the fundamentals. Design patterns and object-oriented programming is the way. It is the way. It's literally, so computers excel at patterns. Computers excel at patterns. And object-oriented programming is a way to build a system that uses the most pattern leverage possible. So it's saying, hey, computer, I know what you're good at. Let me give you as much of this as possible so that you can create the most amazing outcomes possible. Let me give you patterns because I know that's what you're good at, and then you can cook with these patterns. It's really that simple. That's the essence of it. Okay? So subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I'm telling you the truth about software. I'm building real software. PageMotor is going to be software to build websites. It's the truth. This other stuff you've been dealing with, these JavaScript frameworks, I got to mention this. This has been the fad in technology, the trend for the last 10 years. It's a joke. It's a joke. People load up hundreds. I've seen upwards of 300 JavaScript framework dependencies on these projects. Like, oh, yeah, we can build a total JavaScript-based thing. We don't need a clunky old PHP running on an Apache server. We're going to run a faster JavaScript environment. Oh, but by the way, it's got 300 plus package dependencies. I got to use a package manager to deal with all of it. I've got to upgrade it from the prompt all the freaking time. Oh, I've got to update this thing because I can't update the rest of my packages because there's an update for this. Dependencies on dependencies on dependencies. Dependencies is like being on welfare. It's so insane. It is so unnecessary. So when people are haughty about this, like, oh, this is a superior development environment, on what basis? There's literally no basis other than the fact that a bunch of you parrot heads who work at Google and elsewhere are saying the same stuff. Oh, this is better. Oh, this is better. NPM package manager, it's better. It's not better. It's just more crap for you to manage and deal with and learn. And all that does is create your environment. It's not even building the software. So you're spending all this time learning about all these tools and stuff that aren't even building the thing that you want to build. It's so insane, I can't even begin to go there. Okay, so this whole JavaScript framework thing is a joke. PageMotor, which I've referenced a couple times now, is pure PHP. It does have some JavaScript to run the UIs and stuff like that, but it's pure PHP. I get scoffed at for this. Oh, I can't believe you're using this outdated language. Buddy, it's on every Apache server on the planet. Every minimally equipped Apache server on Earth runs basic PHP. This is the most ubiquitous programming language now. I don't care that it didn't start life as a pure object-oriented language like C or something like this. I don't care. It has the tools of object-oriented programming now. It's installed on every minimally equipped Apache server on Earth. It is the foundation for servers and websites, essentially. We should have a piece of software that can build a website that's made in pure PHP and has all the right design patterns to build a website. Such a simple thesis. It's such a simple thesis. There is no retort. There is no pushback. This is the simplest possible operating environment. This is what we need. This is the way software should be built. All right? I'm done ranting for now. Software developers are a joke. I don't know of any. I'm going to tell you right now. I know some people who deal with software. I don't know a single true software developer besides myself. I'm not tooting my own horn here. It's not like that. I'm just saying. I hope there's some out there. I haven't seen them. The discipline's not there. The mastery of the fundamentals is not there. And just this, I need to see that you understand. I don't see anyone saying the stuff that needs to be said to say that would indicate to me this guy gets it. They get it. They understand what needs to happen to make good software. I need to see more of that. So if you're out there, don't let me be the only one. I don't want to be the only one. But I need to see it because I don't see it. Here's what I see. I see this cope on X and this kind of thing. People making excuses for doing things the wrong way. No more, gang. Follow this channel. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.